Hello. Welcome. Bienvenue.
Welcome.
I never know how to start these. This is The Hills Are Alive, a movie musical podcast, Season 2.
Season 2. I'm Alex.
I'm Kelsey.
I think we forgot to introduce ourselves last time.
We probably never do.
No, we usually do.
I'm Kelsey Jane, technically.
I'm Alex Caress.
That's the name I'm using in the press now.
Oh, yeah, I hope everyone saw our full-page feature in the Nashville scene.
Listen, I may be admitting to being woefully uncool, but I was really, really excited about that.
It's a big deal.
I've lived in Nashville for 15 years, and I've read the scene for 15 years.
It is the hallowed ground of Nashville publications. Right?
Yeah. It was very exciting, and the only thing I could ever hope for beyond that is to go to the best of party.
Oh my God. Someday.
You've been, haven't you?
Yes. Once.
For?
When my album won the critics' pick for Best Country Album of the Year in 2017.
Oh my God.
Crazy stuff, but
2017 feels like it wasn't that long ago,
No.
but it really was.
it's almost 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's well.
Anyways,
Getting
we were
older.
in the scene. Otherwise, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I mean, we just had our, daylight savings taken away. It's very gloomy out. Feeling that.
I just don't understand why it wasn't part of the infrastructure package deal. Like, it's the one thing we all agree upon.
So I heard that they are introducing some bill now to get rid of it.
Are you serious?
Actually, this is what I heard. It was a tweet, so who knows? But
well, that's how
news is relayed these days. But yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things. It's just a win for everybody. Nobody likes it. It's like fully bipartisan. I mean, I don't know. I bet
it just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, the only person who will be against it is Ann Coulter or something.
Yeah. Anyway. Is she still? I don't even know if she's still around.
Yeah.
I think it's Ashley Owens is the voice now.
And there's
Anyways,
there's a lot of those horrible people. Anyway,
so welcome to season 2.
Welcome to season 2.
The world is horrible. Mm-hmm. It gets dark really early, but we are here to discuss.
You know what makes it better?
Musicals.
So today we're jumping into season 2 with The Wizard of Oz.
1939. So this is our representative film for the 30s. I'll be honest, mostly because I don't know any older musicals.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of musicals during this time were very, silly. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just a different product.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's very, everything is very obviously on a soundstage.
Right.
And it is not dealing with the most serious themes.
It's like slapping your knees and hobo songs and whatever.
Minstrel numbers.
Right. But I think in a lot of ways, 1939 was a turning point for film in general. A lot of people view it as one of the best years in film ever.
So in 1939, we had The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind.
Right.
And actually, 2 of the directors on The Wizard of Oz left the project for Gone with the Wind.
Another harrowing experience, right?
Yeah, it sounds like with both pictures, it was a complete nightmare behind the scenes, especially if you were an actress in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think about The Wizard of Oz now that and we're going to dive into this, but now that you know what you know, which was behind the scenes was just terrifying, how do you feel about the movie?
It was a lot more difficult to watch.
Yeah.
Did you find that?
So I did most of my research after watching it.
Same.
And while I was watching it, I went into it with like this one big question, which is, this is one of the greatest movies of all time, but why is it one of the greatest movies of all time? Because when you just grow up with it, you don't really know what to compare it to.
Right.
It just sort of is.
And I think that Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind have this in common, is that they're both, like, took on a lot production-wise, and it was the point to have these, like, landmark things with color and sets and huge casts and all that kind of thing,
Yeah, definitely. And they were obviously very successful at what they did. Mm-hmm. But so I went into it just sort of wondering, like, from today's perspective, why do we still love it so much?
Right.
When I finished watching it, and throughout watching it, I remember thinking, like, you know what? This is delightful.
Yeah.
This is a very good story.
Yeah.
It's just a nice story.
And I remember
it's succinct, and the songs are good.
I remember it, like, as a kid being much more of an epic. It moves along at a
It really
clip.
does. It really does. Almost to the point where you're just like, if this were like a more of an adult film, I would be asking way more questions.
Right.
But it's a kid's movie, so we're just going to let it go.
Right. But they just really jumped right into things.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember it being a lot longer, too.
Yeah,
but it's really not.
It seemed like an odyssey,
It did.
But really, it's only an hour and 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
Which is... when I went to HBO Max to watch it, I was expecting the number to pop up and be like...
2.5.
Well, yeah, like 2.5, something like that. But an hour 40, I was surprised.
That's what I was expecting as well.
Mm-hmm.
When I finished watching it and started researching about behind the scenes, and I realized how traumatic the experience was for Judy Garland and for many of the other actors as well, the primary actors, it makes it a lot harder to watch.
Yeah. I feel like it's part of, like, our national lexicon at this point that this movie was a nightmare to make, and that, like, people were treated badly and people were injured and, all that kind of thing.
There's a really great SNL character, and I don't remember her name, but Kate McKinnon does her, and she's just an older actress from the golden era.
Yes. And she's like... Yeah.
And she's always opposite, like, modern actual actresses. Like, they'll have Emma Stone or, whomever, or Gal Gadot on to talk about their experiences in the world of film. And she's always talking about just being abused.
Right. And... She's like, and that's when we bent over for our daily spankings. And...
you read about what happened on the set of The Wizard of Oz, and you're like, oh, okay. No, they really were just, like, physically and verbally attacking women.
Right.
Just, just cause. That's what moves the show along.
So in my research about Judy Garland for this, I was very disappointed in Mickey Rooney. Because she had said, that from a child that they had her on amphetamines for energy, barbiturates for sleep, blah blah blah, and that they were given to her by the studio. And Mickey Rooney was like, he said that Mr. Mayer never gave us anything like that. She chose her own path, blah blah blah.
Yeah, they had a lot of power over their actors back then, and I'm not necessarily trying to defend Mickey Rooney, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was terrified of losing his contract.
But this was
with the studio.
This was after she died. He was
he's full of shit.
Yeah, it was like it was after he died. He was basically like, after she died, he was basically like, well, she chose that, like, that was her lifestyle choice. They never tried to give us
she
these
was
things.
16 and they put her on a chicken broth only diet.
And lettuce.
And gave her, and still gave her on top of that, diet pills, amphetamines, and then downers so she could pass out for a few hours.
Right.
I mean, she like describes one day where she was with Mickey Rooney and they like gave them pills to make them go to sleep for 4 hours, and then they woke them up and gave them like some amphetamines to keep going for another 72-hour. You can't even call that a day. 72-hour block of days.
From Mickey Rooney's perspective, like, he was probably treated much better.
Probably, and probably paid a lot more.
Yeah.
So her counterparts, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion, they were making $3,000 a week. She was making $500. $500, and she's the lead
In every scene.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I don't want to compare necessarily. I don't want to say that this is even worse, but it's just also notable that the dog Toto was making more than the Munchkin actors.
Oh, I think I've heard that statistic.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Somewhere between like maybe $25 more or 2 times as much. I think it's closer to $25. Based upon the reading I did, but it's hard to say.
Weren't a bunch of Munchkins, like, injured or something?
Not that I found,
Oh, okay.
no. There's a lot of really crazy rumors about the Munchkin actors and actresses.
There's the one big rumor, which has obviously been disproved at this point. But I guess they weren't burned at the same time that the Wicked Witch was burned. What was the actress's name?
Margaret Hamilton.
Margaret Hamilton,
I think is her name. I know it's Hamilton. I'm not sure about Margaret.
She was like severely burned to the point where she had to be like taken off set for like 6 weeks or something.
Yeah, and she wasn't the first.
Yeah.
So should we go ahead and just jump into the recap?
Yeah, absolutely.
And sort of, work our way through all of the trauma that happened as they were filming these scenes.
And the rumors.
Yeah.
All right, so we open with an overture. I think it starts with Somewhere Over the Rainbow, probably.
I will say I was delighted to go back to the old overture plus credits opening. I kind of missed that for a minute.
And the really cool kind of... they weren't, with the black and white, they weren't stuck to like a single black and white hue. It has this sort of like
it's more sepia
tone. Yeah. And so
really
this shot with the clouds going by is really beautiful.
By the way, all of the people that they're crediting, so they credit Victor Fleming as the director, and I think that he did have the majority of input on the film, but they went through 4 directors.
What is it with all of these movies going
They were just
through
so the studios had contracts with artists, with writers, directors, producers, actors, and actresses.
So they could just like swap them out, and it wouldn't be it wouldn't really be
they could
any
just
detriment
swap
to
them out, and sometimes they would trade them like more like sports teams. I guess they'd trade them with other studios.
Yeah, have pinch hitters and bring in a closer.
No, seriously, no, that's exactly right. Because they brought in this guy George. I don't know how to say his last name. I think it's Cukor, Cukor. They brought him like in temporarily, but it was always just intended to be
temporary
for a few weeks, and then he left to go do Gone with the Wind, and then Victor Fleming left to go do Gone with the Wind, and then Victor Fleming won the Academy Award
for Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then like the last guy to direct it was, his name is King Vidor. Vidor.
That sounds right.
Yeah, King Vidor. And I don't think he actually did a whole lot, but he did like the sepia Kansas scenes, which, by the way, this piggybacking off of the director issue, they had over 10 screenwriters. And the Kansas scenes in the very beginning were written by, what's his name? Mankiewicz. There's that movie Mank
Yes.
about him.
Yeah.
He wrote the screenplay with Orson Welles for Citizen Kane.
Right. Okay.
He also was involved in this film, but he's uncredited.
Yeah.
The three that got credited are Edgar Van Woof, Florence Ryerson, and...
A woman.
Maybe. I don't know. Names were weird back then.
Right.
I have a grandpa named Lauren.
Yeah. I mean, even in Gone with the Wind, you have Ashley.
Exactly.
Played by someone named Leslie.
The sexiest. And then Noel Langley is the third credited screenwriter. But anyways, yeah, there's just a lot of chaos.
Yeah. A lot of swapping them in and out.
Swapping them in and out.
So the movie starts with this quote that stays on the screen for a while for you to read it. And it says, "For nearly 40 years, this story has given faithful service to the young in heart, and time has been powerless to put its kindly philosophy out of fashion. To those of you who have been faithful to it in return, and to the young in heart, we dedicate this picture."
Yeah, I never noticed that when I watched it when I was younger.
Same.
Although I don't know why I would have.
Yeah.
Probably couldn't read.
Yeah. Get us to the story.
So yeah, we open with I don't even know that we really have to recap this, but we can just
Yeah,
work
Dorothy.
through it really quickly.
Yeah,
Dorothy Gale.
Yeah, she's running down the road with her dog. Something has just happened with Miss Gulch.
Miss Gulch hit the dog because Toto was chasing her cat or something.
Right.
Miss Gulch is a real bee.
Digging up her gardens or whatever.
So yeah, she runs home and she's like, Aunt Em.
Everyone is busy. Aunt Em and
Uncle Henry
are busy. Then she goes to talk to the stagehands, who are Zeke, Hunk, and Hickory.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
They are also busy.
Everyone's busy working on the farm.
Everyone is very busy. So she is, a little despondent. She has to sing about something at this point.
Yeah. So this song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, original song for the movie, I think perhaps the first actual Academy Award winner for Best Original Song that we have talked about.
Really?
It actually won.
It actually won.
It won.
It came true.
As it should have.
Yes, I mean, obviously, one of the...
They
one of the
almost cut it.
Which is crazy.
I know.
But they just thought that it wasn't, fun enough or something.
Yeah, there was a point in time where they were going to go a more modern approach with it.
Yeah.
They were going to have a whole song called The Jitterbug, where they would do the jitterbug.
Well, I thought the jitterbug was part of a scene later on with, because there are jitterbugs. I was in The Wizard of Oz when I don't know, sometime when I was in, junior high or something. And there is a song called The Jitterbug, but it was in this scene in Oz where there's this jitterbug land that they travel through, where there are jitterbugs and they do the jitterbug. But I think that they took the song that was cut from the movie and they put it into the 1987 Broadway adaptation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That checks out.
But that's later on. But Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Over the Rainbow is one of the most enduring songs of our time.
Yeah.
A classic. The classic.
It's kind of hard not to love that song.
It's so good.
I truly mean, I think you have to actively, will yourself to be an asshole, to not enjoy that song.
It's beautiful. And did you ever watch Howard on Disney Plus? About Howard Ashman?
No.
Who was one of the Disney songwriters during the Disney Renaissance in the 90s.
Okay.
So he he wrote A Part of Your World, and he wrote, what is the song that Belle sings at the beginning? I want adventure in the... Yeah.
I don't know the name of it, but I like that song.
So he has, I mean, so he was like a big part of the Disney Renaissance, but this movie is really sad. He died of HIV and like he in the middle of production on Beauty and the Beast. Oh. Very sad stuff. But he has this quote that I thought was really applicable to Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and it gives me chills. He said, "In almost every musical ever written, there's a place that's usually about the third song of the evening, sometimes it's second, sometimes it's the fourth, but it's quite early. And the leading lady usually sits down on something. Sometimes it's a tree stump in Brigadoon, sometimes it's under the pillars of Covent Garden in My Fair Lady, or it's a trash can in Little Shop of Horrors. But the leading lady sits down on something and sings about what she wants in life. And the audience falls in love with her and then roots for her to get it for the rest of the night."
That is lovely.
Right?
I really like that.
And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's taking from the history of musicals, but it makes a lot of sense, you know, why those, like, Part of Your World and stuff have so much impact in those movies.
Right.
Right? So anyway.
I'll just piggyback off of that and say that there's a Pixar short called Lava that uses the Hawaiian ukulele version. Mm-hmm. My goodness, if you want a Pixar that's going to make you cry in 5 minutes or less, go watch Lava. Yeah, holy crap. It's heart-wrenching.
I'm glad there's finally a place for them to put
the
the shorts.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know where you would have watched them before.
Well, when I worked at Blockbuster back in the day, when Blockbuster was a thing, they would release DVD collections.
Oh, really?
Of Pixar shorts.
Yeah.
So I always made sure to take those home. Anywho.
So anyway, she sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's very poignant. You know what she wants. She wants, you know...
And this is the song that really makes Judy Garland.
Yes.
Judy Garland.
Right. And sets her apart as a vocalist, where like the rest of the movie doesn't really. There's
no, I mean it's not. The music is forgive me for saying this, but simple.
Yeah, and it's nothing. I mean, it's kind of like talk sing. There's not much range to any of it. It's very, you know.
Right. Like they wound up switching out Tin Man's. There were 2 different actors, technically 3, which we'll get to, but there were at least 2 different actors for that role, and they left in the old actors' vocals because, quite frankly, it doesn't matter.
Right. And he, like, the Tin Man's voice, to me, sounded like the most like a trained voice. The other people just kind of sounded like...
Oh, well, funny you should say that, because most likely... Well, it depends on which song you're listening to.
Yeah.
They redid the solos, but whenever he's just singing the chorus...
Oh,
it's
okay.
the first actor.
Oh, okay. So he did, the one who's in it did do his, like, solos and, like, If I Had a Heart
Jack Haley.
Yeah.
I think that's his name, Jack Haley. Yeah, he did re-record the solos.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it's only a few lines.
He had a pretty voice, though.
Yeah, sure.
So, anyway, obviously, this is a star-making moment for Judy Garland.
Miss Gulch shows up. Mm-hmm. Miss Gulch is a total B.
Mm-hmm.
She shows up on her bike.
We get the song for the first time.
Yeah, and she's hellbent on literally, her words, destroying a dog.
She said the dog needs to be destroyed.
Yes. Yeah, she has gotten a paper, some sort of decree from the sheriff.
Right.
Ordering that this dog be seized.
Yeah.
And destroyed.
I mean, these laws are pretty much still in place. If somebody's dog bites you, like... you can have them put down right?
I mean, it's a lot harder than that.
Yeah.
I don't want to...
No.
give legal advice.
No.
No. You can sue somebody.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
But this was a situation where she went to the city
and got an order to take the dog and destroy it.
And I will go on the record and say I see that as unlikely in Nashville.
Right.
I don't think it is likely that the city will seize your dog and destroy it.
I found it funny that she would go herself to get the dog rather than having the city do it, you know?
Yeah, typically you'd think the sheriff would show up with
If she has such a bad relationship with this dog, then why does she want to take it?
Well, she's a bad bitch, honestly.
That's true.
She fights her own fights.
Mm-hmm. So once Annie M and Uncle Henry see the notice from the sheriff's office, they know that they have to.
Right, and she threatens to sue the farm.
Right.
As well.
Right.
So they give her the dog. Dorothy is distraught. She rides away on her stupid little bicycle.
Ann M says something bad bitch to...
Oh, yeah. She's like
for 25 years... She said, for 25 years, I've wanted to say something to you, but being a Christian woman, I can't say it.
Right, yeah. And she tells Dorothy, you don't want to make an enemy of this woman. So,
right.
Yeah, they just, succumb to whatever she wants. But thankfully, the dog jumps out
immediately
of the
escapes.
basket.
Yes.
Runs back to Dorothy. And when he gets back to Dorothy, she decides, we got to run away.
Yeah. We have to run away. We've got to hide. She's going to be looking for us, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So she comes across Professor Marvel.
Yeah, she's packed up. She's left the house, and she finds this, old rundown wagon. Traveling, what would you call him? Entertainer?
Yeah, I mean...
Traveling entertainer.
Kind of a crook. I mean, he's... as any fortune teller would
oil.
be.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fortune teller. He's like the snake oil salesman. He's the kind of traveling peddler that is selling you nothing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so he convinces her to come in for a fortune reading.
Right.
And he has her close her eyes for some reason. It's important for the magic or whatever. And obviously takes a peek into her basket.
And at this point, he's already guessed that she's run away.
Obviously.
Yeah, because it's a little girl with a suitcase and a dog.
Right. So we should... Let's go ahead and talk real quick about how old she's supposed to be.
Right.
So she's 16 when they're making the movie. Judy Garland is.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be, I want to say 12-ish.
Yeah. Probably a tween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They talked about casting Shirley Temple, who was 10 at the time.
But she had a contract with Fox.
A different studio, and they wouldn't. There are rumors that there was supposed to be an actor swap.
Right.
With Clark Gable and one other person, which didn't work out for whatever reason. But yeah, more or less, just Shirley Temple wasn't available.
Right.
So they went with Judy.
The term that I saw was they wanted to borrow her.
Yeah, exactly.
Like property.
I know,
right.
I know. But we still do that with sports teams. I mean,
right.
We don't borrow.
Right.
And by we, I mean they.
But they are traded and sold like commodities.
It's weird. Yeah. It's very weird to me. I've always felt uncomfortable about trading and buying players.
Yeah, it seems very
and then there's a whole
barbaric.
Yeah, no, it does. And then there's the whole fantasy football league as well.
Right,
where
but those
everybody gets to do it.
But those aren't real people's lives.
No, true. But still, it's just a weird concept that, we make a sport, we make entertainment out of, selling people.
And the players themselves don't really have any choice in those things, They're traded and they have to go, or,
They also make a lot of money.
Yes, they make more than $500 a week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they do. They sure do. More than $500 a week.
So she's there with Professor Marvel. And he is, he finds the picture in her little basket of her and Aunt Em at the farm, and so he knows everything he needs to know to like get her to go back home. And this is like an act of goodwill on his part to be like to get her to go home.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think so.
So he says that Aunt Em is crying, clutching her heart, and falling on the bed, and Dorothy decides that she has to run home.
She runs home, and there is a giant twister made of muslin.
Yes,
in the background.
This effect is so effective.
Yeah, so they tried to do to make the cyclone itself, because you can really see the definition of it, like behind the house when she's running up. They tried to do it with rubber at first, but it didn't give them the cycling, the waves that they wanted. Mm-hmm. So they switched to muslin that I think just had wire throughout it and like a rod on the end. So when one person at the bottom was rotating it, it just started, swirling.
How was it spliced into the shot?
I don't think it was spliced in. I think it was a practical effect.
Like some sort of...
Like it was in the
perspective
Yeah,
thing?
exactly.
Yeah.
They did a lot of perspective.
It's crazy. It still looks great.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
For what, for the time and everything, it's still...
Sure. I would say there's a difference between it looks great for the time and it still looks great.
It didn't, like, take me out of it, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, no, it doesn't take me out of it at all. I mean, I don't think you can be taken out of it if you're watching The Wizard of Oz.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, if the twister doesn't sell you, then you are shit out of luck for this whole movie. But you're not going to have a good time.
This is supposed to be like the real life part of the movie,
Well, and but to your point, for 1939, it was...
I'm sure really impressive.
Extremely significant. Because you got to keep in mind they're doing all of this with practical effects.
Right.
There are no computers involved. The twister is cycloning outside. Everyone else has already gone down to the storm cellar.
They tried to find her. Aunt Em has been calling for her, Dorothy, and can't find her, and Uncle Henry has to, like, force her down into the storm cellar.
Yeah.
Which I guess was the best idea, but still a little, I don't know. Seems heartless to leave her up there. But what are they going to do?
They didn't know. They didn't know where she was.
You're right.
Yeah.
So she comes back and she's looking all around the farm. Things are blowing everywhere. She tries to knock on the storm door, but there's a lot of commotion, so I'm guessing they don't hear her.
So she's back inside the house, and then she's standing next to the window when it flings open and knocks her out. And this is where I would like to take a second to talk about tornado safety.
Don't be near.
Don't stand near windows.
Yes.
This is a real thing in Nashville. There's a lot of people that live in Nashville now that have never experienced tornadoes before. Mm-hmm. And now we get them all the time, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like we've always gotten a lot of, like, tornado warnings.
But now we're actually getting tornadoes.
Actually have had tornadoes, yes.
Yeah, and it's becoming a more and more frequent occurrence.
Yeah.
And rule number 1 is, like, don't hang out near a window.
Yeah.
And don't go outside at all.
I feel like for a long time there were, like, enough tornado warnings with nothing happening that people started to, like, not really take it seriously.
Oh, yeah. No, the Nashville siren system was real dumb for a real long time.
Yeah.
Like, if there was a tornado anywhere in Davidson County, the alarms would go off in all of Davidson County.
Right.
And so, it was like the boy crying wolf every time.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the siren's always going off.
Right.
Why should I believe it this time?
Exactly.
But no, we do get tornadoes now. They've fixed the siren system, by the way.
To be more, like, specific.
Yeah. So now when you do hear the siren, please take shelter.
Yes.
Don't stand near a window.
Yeah.
Don't
go outside and try to look for it.
Go to the lowest floor you can.
Mm-hmm. Go to this most central part of your house, not near any windows if you don't have a basement.
Yeah. Bathrooms are common places for people, and you should have a weather radio. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cover yourself. Yeah, get in the bathtub. Cover yourself with a towel.
If you have a helmet, like if you're a skateboarder or
Put
something,
on your helmet.
Put on your helmet.
Have a tornado bag.
Yeah.
That has a helmet in it.
Have a go bag. Have some MREs.
So Dorothy did not follow her advice, and she goes straight to the window.
She goes straight to the window. She's knocked out. When she wakes up,
she is up in the cyclone.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. She wakes up and she's like in the cyclone, the house is spinning, and there's all these characters outside of her window.
There's like whole barns and animals flying by. There's some men in a canoe. And then Miss Gulch, who morphs into the witch for the first time.
Yeah.
And she is the only like character from real life that is explicitly morphed into her character in.
As though maybe because she wears so much makeup that they were afraid audiences wouldn't recognize that it's her.
Right.
And she's only in it for a minute.
Yeah.
Before she turns into the Wicked Witch of the West.
Totally.
WWW.
But you see her out the window. Dorothy's terrified. Does she like faint again?
I don't know.
She wakes up. She's wandering around the house. She goes and she opens the door
to Munchkinland.
Yes, which wasn't
in Technicolor.
Wasn't that a practical effect? The color change.
I don't know. I mean,
I heard that they like the inside of the house was like painted and like they had like a black and white dress for Dorothy to wear.
Oh wow!
When she opens the door.
I didn't read that. That's so really fascinating.
The whole thing was in color, but they colored the inside of the house to look black and white.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's really interesting.
Right?
I wonder about that. Mm-hmm. It seems like a lot of effort if they didn't have to, but if it was just for that one transition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the technology was so new at the time that it's possible they weren't able to splice it like mid. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. Because how would they do that?
Because I think that
when they're like actually dealing with like film reels and cutting and.
Right. It seems impossible.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that I saw this TikTok where like somebody had. Or not had it, but they saw the black and white dress in some exhibit somewhere.
Yeah,
and they're like, "That's not Dorothy's dress." I was like, "No, it's the black and white one."
That's cool.
Right.
Neat.
Anyway, so she opens up the door, and it's Munchkinland.
Munchkinland. So, the Munchkins, the Munchkin actors and actresses. Everything that I heard so many rumors about the Munchkin actors and actresses, ranging from life was hell on set for them to they were having ragers every night. Mm-hmm. From what I could gather, preparing for this, I think that it was a relatively normal experience for the majority of the Munchkin actors and actresses.
Right. Aside from being paid less than a dog.
Well, yeah. Okay. I don't think they knew.
Right, probably
I don't think they knew that part. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think they were getting paid necessarily unfairly. I did read a statistic, or not a statistic, but like a number, that said they were getting paid like $125 a week, which would equate to like $2,330 a week today.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound bad for mostly extras.
Like it would have been industry standard for extras at the time.
That's kind of what I mean, I don't know what industry standard is today, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
$2,000 a week is pretty solid.
That's pretty, yeah, that's pretty good. I feel like extra work, would be less than that equivalent.
Yeah.
Today. I think it's like, I think it's hourly. I think it's probably like $20 an hour. I don't remember what I made. I did a whole day of extra work once. here in town. They were making this movie about it. It doesn't matter. It was very much like...
Was it Country Strong?
No, it was very much like Jackie Jorp Jump. From 30 Rock. So 30 Rock, Jenna is supposed to be in this Janis Joplin biopic.
But they can't get the rights.
Can't get the rights, so they name her Jackie Jorp Jump. So this was like this, like, vaguely vaguely taken from
about
Elvis's life, but in this story he had like an identical twin that they were separated at birth. Anyway, the biggest star in the movie was Seth Green.
Was his name like Irvis?
I don't even remember. But anyway, they did like a whole day of filming at the Opry House
with Seth Green.
But I'm pretty sure that like my pay
Wow.
for the day was like $150 or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So less than
what they made in a week.
Well, I mean, it would.
But
for a week, it would have been less than $2,000. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So we're in Munchkin Land, and Dorothy is like wandering around, and you see some Munchkins poking out from behind the bushes or whatever, and then this bubble appears, and it is slowly appearing, and it's Glinda.
Glinda, spelled with an I. That frustrates me. Glinda.
Not Galinda.
It's not Glenda. It's Glinda. Glinda.
Glinda the Good Witch, who is... I've seen a bunch of...
Isn't she? She's the Witch of the North.
The
Which is very Game of Thrones-y.
I think so. The Good Witch.
King of the North.
Yeah, Good Witch of the North.
Witch of the North.
And she is... I've seen a bunch of TikToks about this, just like how shady it is, what she says here. Because she asks Dorothy if she's a good witch or a bad witch. And...
you can only be one.
And Dorothy's like, well, I'm not a witch. And then Glinda says that she's a good witch. And Dorothy says, I thought witches were ugly. And Glinda says, only bad witches are ugly. Like, then why'd you ask me if I was a bad witch?
Oh, damn.
So then Glinda decides that it's time to introduce Dorothy to the Munchkins. So she sings come out, wherever you are. And this goes into like a whole medley of like Munchkin songs that are just basically like little, like one line of song, but they are each given their own name.
Well, we only get two, right? So I know everybody knows the Lollipop Guild.
So there's come out, wherever you are. There is, it really was no miracle. And then, we thank you very sweetly. And then, Ding Dong the Witch is dead. And they're giving her a parade. And then, as mayor of Munchkin City.
Okay, well, you've completely skipped over the Lullaby League.
No, I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, we're not even there yet?
No. And then, as coroner, I must aver. Then, Ding Dong the Wicked Witch is dead again. Then, Lullaby League.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, they spend a lot of time glorifying the death of this woman.
Yes.
And it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's really a lot.
Yes.
Especially when they bring out the coroner to be like, no, she's really, really dead.
Yes. She's very dead.
Like, it's intense.
Also, how did
their hatred for her when we don't know why she's so evil.
Right. There's no backstory on how
We're
evil.
given zero information about why they hate her. We just know that they hate her, and it just feels a little aggressive.
She's got striped stockings.
I mean...
Pretty shoes. So, Lullaby League, these little ballerinas, and then Lollipop Guild was the little lollipop boys with the smirk on their faces.
Yeah, they looked like children.
Yes.
And bald caps.
And so weren't some of these, like, actors, some of them were actual little people, and some of them were children?
Yeah.
It's like a mixture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and some of them were little people that were also children.
Right. Yeah, an intersection, and then we have We Welcome You to Munchkin Land, And I think that's the last part of this, like, huge, long Munchkin song.
So Sidney Luft was Judy Garland's third husband, I think after Vincent Minnelli. I think he was number 2. Anyways, he wrote in his memoir that this is the one place where these rumors about the Munchkin actors and actresses maybe have some merit. He said that Judy revealed to him, and that he was aware at the time, that some of the actors were groping her.
Oh.
Because of the way that they were staged, they were able to be like right underneath her skirt.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, and basically, it's been more or less, I mean, it seems credible.
Yeah. But it's an unsubstantiated...
There's no names
rumor.
named.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to... I think that... I don't know. I'm nervous. I want to be clear that I'm not, like, accusing an entire community. But...
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some unfortunate things that happened on that set.
That is unfortunate, and I'm sure
honestly,
there was no recourse at that time for that kind of thing either.
No, there wasn't, and it really just boils down to that Judy Garland was failed on all accounts. It sounds like she struggled with some of her peers, some of her actors, co-actors. She was getting pills from the studio that was basically, contracted to control her life.
Right.
And
constantly given grief, consciously and unconsciously about her weight and her body type.
Yeah.
And, she was going through puberty and they wanted to, like, bind her up and not show any curves. They actually chose that dress, the blue gingham dress, because they thought it would blur her curves.
Yeah.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah. So anyway, after the Munchkin medley, this is when the Wicked Witch shows up. And
see, it's just so funny transitioning, like, to this very joyous, like, beautiful, jolly film. When what was going on behind the scenes was really awkward.
Dark.
Yeah. Not awkward. Super awkward. It was very dark.
Yes.
Very dark and bad.
So the Wicked Witch shows up and someone's killed her sister.
Yeah.
It's not like...
She shows up to avenge the death of her sister, which is fair.
Fair.
Completely fair.
In this movie, it's like, we never see her do anything that's not, like, recourse for something else.
Right.
Like, she had never, like...
Her position is understandable.
Right. And they stole her shoes. I mean...
And this is what I mean. So, like, okay, yeah, I don't know if this is still in the podcast, but, okay, so Glinda is basically trolling the Wicked Witch of the West when she shows up in the first place. She's like, oh, go check on the shoes. Glinda knows.
She knows she's going to put them on Dorothy. She knows that the
shoes are on Dorothy. She's being a total bitch.
It reminds me of the Bo and Yang iceberg sketch. He's like, first of all, you showed up to where I live and you hit me.
That was really good. I love Bo and Yang. Oh, I really like his China trade daddy as well.
Oh my God. All of his skits are so good.
We like Bowen.
We're Team Bowen.
Team Bowen.
For
Let's
sure.
Get into some musicals. But no, the whole situation with Dorothy is egregious. She kills a woman, steals her shoes. Her sister shows up. She's upset about it, and they have the audacity.
And as far as Wicked Witch knows, everyone's telling her that Dorothy's the one who did it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're erecting a bust of her in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Specifically because of it.
She will be a bust, be a bust, be a bust.
I
in
think
the
it's
Hall of Fame.
also, it's either this scene or it could be the next. There's a lot of scenes with the Wicked Witch of the West where she either appears or disappears into, like a cloud of smoke
Yeah.
with a flash of fire.
Yeah.
There was one occasion, I think it's this one,
I think it is this one.
where they just staged it wrong and she caught fire
Yeah.
to her face, to her hand. It singed off her right eyebrow and right eyelashes. And it burned her hand extremely badly.
How long did she have to?
I read 6 weeks and I also
Yeah.
read 3 months.
Yeah.
It was a long time either way.
Yeah, that's
A significant amount of time. And I read that when she came back, they couldn't even put makeup on her hand because her nerves were still exposed
Oh my God, yeah.
from the burn injury. So she had to wear gloves, which I've burned my hand once before, and it was the dumbest injury. I was cooking. It was so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to explain it, but I've burned my hand before. It was the most excruciating pain.
Horrible.
Horrible. And like even wearing a glove would have been awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Especially if it was as bad as it sounds.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, so they made her do this like fire scene, which I know we're judging it by 2021 standards, but it's not that impressive.
It's obvious that she just drops down through a trapdoor.
Yeah, and for what it took, not worth it. Not worth it, guys.
The scene wouldn't have suffered if it was just the cloud of smoke.
It would have been fine.
Yeah.
Nobody would have noticed.
Right.
Anyways.
So
Yeah.
so after this horrific injury,
I know.
Dorothy's like
So much pain.
So Dorothy's like, I've got to go home, and Glinda's like, well, you've got to go see the wizard for that.
He's the only one that knows. A lie.
A lie.
Total lie.
What is her angle? Her whole point for this whole time is just to like kill Elphaba. We should just kill Caesar. So she has to leave. Glinda says she has to visit the wizard. She's like, how do I get to the wizard? And he's in the Emerald City, and you just
follow the yellow brick road.
That's right. And so Glinda leaves in her bubble. Dorothy says, people come and go so quickly here. And the Munchkins see her out of town.
Yeah.
While singing.
And hopefully not groping her.
Wah, wah.
That is not funny.
It's
kind of funny.
The SNL Debbie Downer skit.
We talk about SNL a lot.
I know.
We should do an SNL podcast after this. Oh my god. But truly, I love SNL.
I love it too.
I think it's my favorite show.
I love it. It gets a lot of shit.
It gets so much shit.
Every iteration of it
gets shit.
Yes.
And
then
I
10 years later, everyone's like, that was the classic cast. You're like, well, was it? Because you really hated it back then.
I just love it as an institution.
Yeah.
I think it's very cool that it's been on since the, 60s, 70s? Yeah.
Since the 70s. But I feel like this cast is very promising.
We'll see.
Just as far as like you got Bo and
Well,
Yang.
I love Bo and Yang. It's too big. The cast is too big.
There's lots. I can't tell the difference between a lot of the white guys. But
yeah, and there's too many. You know what? Let's not get into it.
Let's skip
talk
it.
About...
All right. So the Munchkins see her out of town. She's following the yellow brick road. And they send her off. And she comes to a crossroads, and she doesn't know where to go. And she hears a voice that says, some people go that way. Some people go that way.
Yeah, can we basically just say that, like, for the next 40 minutes, she meets the Scarecrow, she meets the Tin Man, she meets the Cowardly Lion.
Yes. They sing, If I Only Had a Brain.
If I Only Had a Heart.
Uh-huh.
And If I Only Had the Nerve.
The Noive.
The Noive. Put 'em up, put 'em up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great quotes in between, or in all of these scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Does anything super significant happen? Okay, let's talk about... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, after this, they're hungry. They see some apples. The witch has
I wanted to talk about that scene, too. Yes.
The witch has cursed the trees, and so it seems like she was there for a reason, so I'm guessing that she put the spell on these trees to make them angry.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to give up their apples, but the scarecrow has this idea to taunt them so that they'll throw the apples at them. And so then when she is trying to go search for the apples and pick them up, she comes across the Tin Man's shoe.
Exactly. So that is the scene where it was alleged that there was in the background the image of one of the Munchkin actors hanging himself.
Yes. So this is after they
Which is so ridiculous saying it out loud.
After they meet the Tin Man and they sing "If I Only Had a Heart," the witch shows up, throws a fireball at the scarecrow. They put it out and then they move on. And it's as they're moving on that you see something moving in the distance.
Did you? Okay, I read about this in high school, like on the internet, probably on LiveJournal.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the movie. I must have rented it at Blockbuster. This was before I worked there. Yeah, I must have rented it. I tried to find it. I did the same thing with all the Disney movies and the like, quote unquote, like sex references and stuff.
Take off your clothes.
From Aladdin, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. But this is like, I feel like we all had really shitty VHS copies of this.
Right.
And you can see something moving back there, but now that it's been enhanced, it's just obviously a big bird.
I mean, it makes me wonder, is this just like early days of the internet where...
Yes.
Like these days, our generation absolutely understands the difference between like real content, real factual content, and like the, Prince of Nigeria asking you for money.
I feel like
it's so basic that it's just...
I feel like this is like, I don't know what it would be categorized as like creepypasta or something, where it's like this urban legend that gets passed around long enough that it becomes true to people.
Right. Well, and because it happened so... I guess what I'm getting at is like, it is the dumbest thing ever. Mm-hmm. It's so stupid. When you say it out loud, it sounds so stupid.
Yeah.
But in the early days, we were willing to believe that because we saw it on the internet or we got it in a chain email or something, it was true. And these days...
That you looked at it really closely on your MacBook.
Basically, we had an excuse.
Yes.
For believing this stuff. Also, we were 12, so...
And even now with these, like... Obviously, like...
We were dumb.
With these, like, remastered... Like, it's obvious what it is now, but, like, there are still people that are like, oh, they, like, went in and changed it with CGI.
Oh,
so
my God,
it's
I know.
Like, it's dumb. People still believe it. It's obviously not true.
It's not true. Yeah, it was a bird somehow got on set.
Yeah.
I think they actually purposefully brought birds in because they wanted realistic looking
like
background scenery.
Looking, not like exotic.
Forestry.
Yeah.
They were in a forest.
Yeah, and just like exotic looking animals and stuff. And there's this huge bird.
And because we all had like you said, lo-fi TV situations, it just got warped into this thing that didn't ever
or a YouTube
exist.
video that was ripped or taken off of someone's VHS tape. I mean, it's like...
Oh, I think I was looking for it pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
Pre-YouTube.
Either way...
This was the first thing I did on the internet.
It was on E-Bombs World, probably.
No, it was Express Page. Anyway, okay. So, let's also talk about... these three characters. The Tin Man and the Scarecrow, their roles were actually changed out early on. So
Between
basically,
the actor?
yeah. So let me find, I've got it right here.
Can I say something really quickly while you're doing that? It was jarring to me that right after she met the Tin Man, and she's still only with the Tin Man and Scarecrow, that she says, "You're the best friends anybody could ever have." She's known these people for, I don't know, the Tin Man for like 10 minutes.
But no, but it's established at the end. She says, "I feel like I've known you."
That's true.
Forever.
And it's because they're based on these real people
Yeah.
in her life.
No, it's not weird. It's just like, it's heavily hinting at like, oh, they're the same people.
Right.
This
Yes.
is all in her head.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. That's
All
fine.
right,
I just wrote
listen.
stranger danger.
Okay, so here's what I was trying to get at. All right. Scarecrow, played by Ray Bolger.
Uh-huh.
Tin Woodman, I call him Tin Man.
Yeah.
Tin Man is played by Jack Haley, but he was not the first person cast in that role. The first person cast was, what's his name? He wound up being Jed Clampett
I know
on the
who you're talking
Beverly
about, yeah.
Hillbillies.
Was he the one who had the horrible reaction to the face paint?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So basically, they're like, okay, so he was first cast as the Scarecrow, and then who was it? Yeah, Ray Bolger, who had been cast as the Tin Man, he just felt like he was more suited for the Scarecrow. He had a vaudeville background. He was very, I don't know, limber.
Yeah.
Very loose. Like, he was good at
He could move like a rag doll.
Yeah, exactly. He was very good at that, and he was very adamant that he should be in that role. So he just, like, got this other guy to switch with him, basically.
Okay.
And he takes on the role of Scarecrow. Meanwhile, this other poor guy, he gets stuck playing the Tin Man and winds up having this horrible reaction to the makeup that they put on him.
He's poisoned. It's like lead. Is it like lead makeup?
Yeah, there's pure aluminum in this, like,
or is it mercury?
Powder. I read aluminum.
Okay.
It probably was mercury.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, basically,
He was poisoned by it.
Yeah.
Like, had to be in the hospital for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he had to go on oxygen for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he woke up in the middle of the night in excruciating pain. His wife called an ambulance. He was in the hospital for 2 weeks on oxygen. Took him much longer to recover, and the studio was pissed.
Yeah.
And they fired him.
Right.
And that's when they brought in Jack Haley.
They let Margaret Hamilton be off for 6 weeks.
I think that was after this happened.
Yeah.
And they probably were running out of money.
Yeah.
And had to, would be my guess. Like,
right.
I'm assuming they couldn't go back and
Yeah.
refilm all of her parts.
I'm sure that's true.
But yeah, it was, I mean, just sort of ridiculous. A totally different, a different world where if you got injured on set, you were on your own.
Sorry.
Yeah. Deal with it.
Yeah.
And we're going to fire you because of it.
Right. I mean, he's probably still, like, on payroll for the studio, but, you know, fired from this picture.
Yeah.
So after this, they come across a spooky forest, and they're scared, and they are scared of lions and tigers and bears.
Oh, my.
And they come across a lion.
The Cowardly Lion.
Who they are scared of to begin with.
Yeah.
Until he chases after Toto and Dorothy slaps him and he crumbles.
She just, like, whacks him on the nose.
Yeah.
And he has a full-on breakdown.
Yeah.
Because he is the Cowardly Lion.
He's the Cowardly Lion.
He's faking it.
He's got no courage. He's crying. He says he can't count sheep because he's afraid of them.
So here's something wild about the Cowardly Lion. His costume was made out of real lion fur.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
They only had one of them. They had one principal costume. And also the lights were so hot on set because they had to have extremely bright lighting for Technicolor.
Yeah.
The lights were so bright that the actor was heavily sweating.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, so they would have to put his costume into what I read is an industrial dryer
Oh, God.
to air it out each night. So, I mean, I can only imagine it smelled
I wonder what they used.
awful.
I wonder what they used to glue on his prosthetics to hold up in the sweat.
Oh, well, okay. So I don't know about those specifically, but with the Scarecrow's prosthetics, it was another nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was just a nightmare for all of
Yeah.
these actors.
Just
But at least
covering
these
everyone in
guys were getting
poison.
paid more.
Right.
You know? But yeah, no, I'll just finish by saying his costume, the Cowardly Lion costume, sold at auction in 2014, I think, for $3 million.
Wow.
It has to
I
smell
wonder if it
so
still
bad.
probably
It
stinks.
has to.
Yeah.
It has to.
Gross.
Ugh.
I wonder if who was the big game hunter who
I know, right? Somebody took down a lion for that costume.
was probably what was it?
A dentist.
Louis B. Mayer. he was
The
the head.
producer.
Yeah. So anyway, he sings "If I Only Had the Nerve." He says some lines that would not fly these days. He says he's a sissy, and he says he's a dandy, and does the limp wrist thing, a dandelion.
Dandelion.
Mm-hmm.
Dandelion. It's kind of, I get it though.
Yeah.
It's kind of clever.
Yeah,
Sure. For 1939, I get it.
yeah.
That's smart.
Wouldn't fly these days.
I'm
not-
Nothing about this movie would fly these days.
Wizard of Oz canceled. Anyway, they're off, and the witch sees them all coming in her crystal ball, and she decides to put a spell on the poppies.
The poppies, which it's interesting because it's opium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is gonna put you to sleep. So that's, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, totally.
And an interesting choice for a children's movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the more notable thing that comes from this scene is, okay, so the witch casts a spell on the poppies. They fall asleep.
Right.
In order to wake up, because Scarecrow and I think Tin Man, they aren't humans or
Right.
aren't living, I
Right.
guess. So they're impervious to it, and they call out for help. Glinda the Good Witch, Good Witch,
uh-huh.
shows up, and or she just like sprinkles
She hears their prayers.
snow over them.
If she's that omnipotent, what?
She could have been helping this whole
I
time.
know. So she hears their prayers.
Also, that snow was asbestos.
More poison.
Literally just being sprinkled
Painted
over
with
top of
poison.
them.
Painted with poison. Snowed on with poison. Lit up in a fireball.
in their defense.
They didn't know.
No, in their defense, Christmas decorations in the 30s often included asbestos.
Asbestos snow.
Yeah, people just didn't know.
Right.
People really didn't know.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean,
It's just these days you watch it again, like, this is what I mean. It's like you watch it and you have a great time, but then you learn everything that was actually happening, and you can no longer watch this scene of Dorothy being sprinkled with snow,
Right.
and think like, oh, how lovely. It's like she's being poisoned in
Right.
front of you.
they're all getting cancer
And pills,
and being fed pills.
and chicken broth,
Oh, God.
and that's it.
And plates of lettuce. So they all, Tin Man because of the snow and the crying, has rusted again. They oil him up. I actually really love the sound of the oil can.
Okay.
I can't duplicate it. Is that...
I mean,
That's close.
good. I didn't notice it that much, so it's hard for me to say if that was...
I like little noises. I like ASMR.
Okay. Do you really get, like, extra satisfaction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not, like, crazy, but I know what they're talking about.
You're one of those persons.
I get a chill. I'm not, like, into it. I'm not... I'm not part of the community.
Well, I get sleep paralysis, so...
That's way scarier.
Damn it.
I've had it, like, twice. I've never seen anything, though.
Yeah, no, I was kidding about it.
Oh,
like,
okay.
being a bragging point. No, I get it.
Oh,
but
okay.
I do get it, but I was just kidding about it being a bragging
Oh, okay.
thing. Like, ASMR sounds nice.
It is nice.
Sleep paralysis is not.
No.
It sucks.
That's horrible. It sounds like something they do to you on the set of Wizard of Oz.
Squid Game.
All right, so they all wake up and they are headed finally towards the Emerald City, and we have this song called "Optimistic Voices."
I really like this
Yeah.
song. I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, it's just
it was. Yeah, it's just like a real like swingy 30s girl group kind of sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
And it just, it's their little underscore for skipping the rest of the way to the Emerald City gate.
Yeah.
The witch sees that they've made it, so she decides to leave for the Emerald City, and then they ring.
Oh, yeah, she does her skywriting.
Right. Well, this just...
Surrender, Dorothy.
So but this is just her leaving for the Emerald City. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, not a lot happens in between. Dorothy and the gang show up.
They meet the guard.
Who's played by the same guy that's doing...
Professor Marvel and Oz.
all of them.
And there are like two other characters inside that he also plays.
Yeah, the horse guy.
Yeah, he like has like an
and
Irish
the crying
accent.
guy.
Yeah, he's like an Irish accent when he's the carriage driver.
Yeah.
And then he's the other guard inside.
But I mean, basically, like, there's a lot of back and forth about, like, can they get in? Can they not get in? Eventually, they get let in.
They get let in. They sing King of the Forest.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole big... This is where the movie really...
This is when it stops. This is when it stops moving quickly.
Yeah. Like, why did we need another song about the lion?
King of the Forest, I think, is pretty pointless.
We didn't need a...
No. But before that, they did Merry Old Land of Oz, and they get makeovers.
Oh, that's right. They get makeovers, but she just gets her hair let down, and
she says,
Tin Man gets polished.
Can you even dye my eyes to match my gown?
Yeah, they don't, though. They don't.
The witch does her skywriting, Surrender Dorothy. The townspeople run to the wizard for answers. The guard says, not no buddy, not no how. They do If I Were the King of the Forest. I got a really fun mental image when he said that the chipmunks genuflect to him. Just imagine little chipmunks.
I have a little chipmunk that lives right outside of my apartment.
Did you name him?
No, because he is his own chipmunk. Or she. I don't know. I'm really not sure.
They can name themselves.
They haven't like necessarily taken up with me. Like they are terrified of my apartment situation. But they run across the patio every day, and I watch them, and I love them.
You just observe?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't really like it in my apartment. But I like them.
So he sings that song, and then the guard comes back out again and says, go away. And then Dorothy cries, and he cries, and he lets him in.
Yeah. They eventually get in, and then Oz says, go get the broom. Mm-hmm. If you're going to get your heart and your courage and your brain.
Yes.
So they run off to do that.
Yes.
And basically, this is when the flying monkeys show up.
Right. And they...
Terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
I did not like them as a child. They very much scared me.
They're very scary, especially that scene out the window of the castle with the throngs of monkeys flying by.
So there's thousands of monkeys, it looks like.
Yeah.
Thousands.
Wonder how they accomplished that.
That's a good question. It looked to me to be just like miniatures kind of on strings, honestly, because it was a little janky.
Yeah.
But no, they had a real person playing like the head monkey.
Yeah.
I think his name is Nico.
Yeah.
But I was kind of watching it even now and wondering how they did it, because they looked, I don't want to say they looked realistic. Obviously they didn't. They're winged monkeys.
Yeah.
But they didn't look completely unbelievable.
Right. And I think that was probably because it could just be a full face mask. It didn't have to be a prosthetic. None of them had lines that they had to speak, so they weren't,
Well, and knowing what they did to the actors, I was ready to fully believe that they just, like, painted some monkeys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They were painting humans.
Mm-hmm. But these were all actors.
Yeah.
So these terrifying monkeys, they find the whole crew.
They scoop Dorothy up.
They get Toto too. And they like unstuff the scarecrow. And of course, Toto escapes again. He's a regular Houdini. And
that's why you got paid so well.
And so this is when the witch is really just like, she's stretching this out. She's like, I'm going to set it's just asking for something to happen. You know what I mean? She's like, I'm going to set a timer for when you're going to die.
I know. That was my biggest thing. I was like, wait. Why aren't you just going to kill her right now?
You better not escape. I'm going to leave you alone.
Right. So maybe it was like a spell that she cast that takes an hour to take effect or something.
I don't know, because
it wasn't clear. When
it ran out, she didn't automatically die.
I know. I thought that like the witch was going to show up to do the deed.
Yeah, it's unclear.
It's very unclear.
She leaves her alone. Dorothy thinks she sees Annie M in the crystal ball,
but it's just the witch taunting
mocking her. Like, I'm frightened.
Yeah. Total B.
So, okay. So the other...
Toto has escaped.
Toto's escaped. He brings the other guys back to the castle. They steal some guard outfits and get inside.
Yeah, the guards look very... did you notice they look very, like Russian and or Chinese? Like
something
very much
imperial.
Like, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With green faces.
Those big fur hats.
Yeah.
It's very Russian. And I'm sure at the time we were not actually at the time.
Yeah. Where were we?
We were on the same side in World War II as the Russians. I mean, same. We had the same enemy.
Were we though?
Right. All right. So Toto leads them up to the tower. Tin Man chops the door open where Dorothy is. They're doing a lot of chasing. The witch. They finally encounter the witch, and she decides that she's going to kill. She's stretching it out again. She's like, Dorothy, you're going to be last. I'm going to kill everyone else first.
But essentially what we're seeing up to this moment is the Tin Man using heart.
Yes.
The Scarecrow using brains.
Right.
And the Lion using courage.
I mean, the first thing the Scarecrow does is use brains.
I know.
Because she can't get him off the post.
Right.
And he's like, well, I don't have any brains, but you could probably bend that nail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, she asks about it very quickly. She says, well, how can you talk if you don't have brains?
Yeah. And he also says something about something in his heart. It's like, does he have a heart in the hay? Anyway, we're moving on. We're getting through this. So she lights her broom on fire in order to light the Scarecrow on fire, and there happens to be a bucket of water right there that is the only thing that can kill the witch, and she just has a bucket of it laying around. But she throws the bucket at the broom that's on fire, and it hits the witch too.
I'm melting.
And she dies. She said, "My beautiful wickedness." All hail Dorothy. Blah blah blah. They think that the guards.
More praise for Dorothy killing yet another person. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, she's basically killed a whole family at this point. They think that the guards are going to be angry with them, but they're not. They're happy that she did it.
Yeah.
So they go back to
Everyone's thrilled.
They go back to the wizard. He's drawing it out again. He says, "Come back tomorrow." And then Toto opens the curtain. Don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
It is, in fact, just a man.
It's just a man.
Operating machinery. He also is the counterpart to Professor Marvel.
Uh-huh. He's just...
Captain Marvel.
He's just a girl standing in front of a boy. Asking him to love her. So he doesn't have magic to give them. He has trinkets.
Yeah.
That they view as the same thing. He's basically telling them that
Well, because deep down...
they always had it.
They had it all along.
Right. So he gives the Scarecrow a diploma.
Yep.
He gives the lion a medal.
Yep.
It's less clear what
he gives the Tin Man like a heart clock.
It's a heart clock, but he calls it a testimonial. So what about Dorothy? He says that he can take her back himself because he has this balloon. He also came from America.
Wouldn't you have it?
Wow.
He's also from Middle America.
From Nebraska. He's from Omaha. His balloon says Omaha, so they're neighbors, basically.
Are they? I really don't know U.S. geography that well.
Oh, Nebraska and Kansas are right next to each other.
Good
but what if when he was like, "Oh, I'm from Nebraska," she's like, "Oh, do you know so?" Anyway.
Do you know my auntie Clint? I don't know. Other one.
So they go to the balloon. He says the Scarecrow will rule the land with assistance from the Tin Man and the Lion. Then Toto runs after this cat. Chaos ensues, and the balloon flies away. Glinda approaches, and wouldn't you know it, she's always had the power to go back.
Wouldn't you know
just had to realize. She asked Dorothy, very, very patronizing, "So what did you learn? You had to learn something." And she says, "If I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I'll never look any further than my own backyard."
Okay, but I guess as we're getting annoyed with Glinda, the good witch, and the quote-unquote good witch, and the other characters, I guess what we're coming across right now is that she was, in fact, in a dream. So they're not real.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard to
This is all just Dorothy's subconscious.
It's hard to hold them accountable for any of this.
As characters.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, maybe that's why this is the best film, not the best film ever, but one of the best films ever, because it was the first one to be like, oh, we're playing the dream card.
Right. It was all a dream.
It was all a dream. Nobody else gets to use that ever again and have it play off very well. I mean, people have, but point being, they were able to play the dream card. No one had ever seen it before.
Right.
And they got away with all of it.
Yeah, doing whatever they wanted to in there.
Giving people aluminum, lead poisoning.
And asbestos poisoning.
And also making them addicted to pills to the point where they die at age 47.
She only 47. She looked so much older.
She was 47 when she died, yeah.
Okay, so she says her goodbyes once she realizes that she can just click her fucking heels. I'm not that angry.
All you gotta do is click, click, click.
So she gets back. The professor has stopped by. Hunk, Hickory, and Zeke are there. She says that they were all in her dream, and she says that she's never leaving home again.
Yeah, no.
That's it.
And that's it. Yeah, the end of the movie really does slow down a lot.
Because it really seems like, plot-wise, a bunch happens, and then, like,
nothing happens.
The last, like, most, like, the better
they have to go back and forth with the gatekeeper, like, 12 times.
Right.
It's so much.
And, like, they make it to Oz, and they have to go back to the castle, and then they have to go back to the wizard. And
right, it's like you're right there.
Yeah.
You're right there. And it's...
So anyway...
obnoxious.
Do you want to know anything about the history of the book? Does that interest you? It was...
What if I said no?
Well, I'll tell you some of it anyway.
No, tell me. No, I am interested.
So it was called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. It was written by L. Frank Baum and published in 1900. It was started out with just a printing of 10,000 copies. Those quickly sold out. Very quickly, needed more copies to be printed, and they finally agreed to print like 250,000 once they knew that there was a 1902 musical that was made.
Right.
That has absolutely nothing to do with this movie. There's none of the same songs. Basically, the only thing that's the same in that is the snow, the poppies in the snow.
The most important scene.
Right. He was influenced by Lewis Carroll. He was influenced by Alice in Wonderland and that kind of thing.
That makes sense.
He thought that children's books should be lavishly illustrated and pleasurable to read, and not contain like heavy-handed moral lessons.
Pause. What do you view as the better of the two, Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland?
I've never read the books.
Really?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, I read Alice in Wonderland. I didn't read Frank L. Baum's.
I mean, as movies, I would probably say Wizard of Oz over Disney's Alice in Wonderland, I think.
I think they're both extremely creepy for modern kids. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting how that was acceptable children's programming.
Yeah. I mean, they are more blatant with the drugs in Alice in Wonderland. That's for sure.
But that was the movie.
More opium.
Anyways.
So he took influence from Lewis Carroll, but then wanted to incorporate Lewis Carroll's stuff was, obviously very like Victorian England. So L. Frank Baum wanted to insert more things that were quintessentially American, like farming and farmhands and that kind of thing.
Kansas.
Exactly. What else do I got here? He included the character of a scarecrow because it was his worst fear as a child. He would have horrible recurring nightmares about scarecrows chasing after him.
Okay.
So I guess
I get that.
Maybe it was a way to overcome that.
There was that movie Jeepers Creepers in like 2002, maybe.
Oh God.
I think it had Justin Long. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either, but it's about scarecrows that come to life.
And it existed.
Oh my God. He wanted to include the Tin Woodman because he liked window displays. I don't know. It was
I'm
about
sorry, what?
I'll just read the excerpt here.
Excerpt.
According to Baum's son Harry, the Tin Woodman was born from Baum's attraction to window displays. He wished to make something captivating for window displays, so he used an eclectic assortment of scraps to craft a striking figure. I don't know what that has to do with window displays inherently, but anyway, moving on. Dorothy, okay. This is actually kind of sad. Dorothy was based on his wife Maud's niece, who died at like 5 months old. So he named Dorothy after his wife's niece in her memory, and
That's really sad.
And then dedicated the book to his wife.
Was it Sid's?
It was.
Why are you laughing?
Because they say that the cause of death was congestion of the brain.
What? Okay, you're right. That's kind of... It's not funny. It's just... It's funny. These early 1900s... Like... medical terms are funny.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
They just didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
Congestion of the brain.
Like, what is that? Is that like an aneurysm, maybe?
I have no idea.
I'm going to guess aneurysm.
Maybe an aneurysm, maybe... You
know what? We're going to reveal the answer on next month's podcast.
We will research what congestion of the brain means and get back to you.
Dark.
So
Let's continue on.
So then the niece's gravestone has a statue of the character of Dorothy placed on it.
Okay, that's great.
The Emerald City, or the Land of Oz, these are some fun facts about how he came. So the Emerald City was loosely based on like three things people think. One of them being Did you ever hear anything about the 1893 World's Fair, the White City?
Oh my God. Is that the one with the guy, the serial killer?
Yes.
Yeah, in Chicago.
Yes.
He built a whole hotel to kill people.
That's right.
Yeah. Of course I've heard about that. What was H.H. Holmes?
H.H. Holmes, yes.
Yeah.
But it was like one of the more like impressive World's Fairs that had ever existed at that time. They built a whole city, the White City. And then lots of people died. But
this isn't funny. I don't know why I'm laughing.
What else here?
Is it more death?
Also, oh no, he was a big fan of the Hotel del Coronado in San Diego. So that was part of it as well. Some people think that he based Oz itself off of Australia. A lot of people call Australia Oz.
That's true. So was that before the movie? That was a thing?
What? I guess.
Calling Australia Oz.
I guess so, yeah. And it says here, like Australia, Oz is an island continent somewhere to the... I guess in the book it makes it clear that Oz is an island continent somewhere to the west of California and inhabited... regions bordering on a great desert. So do you want to talk about recasting?
Okay, so with recasting, I had a hard time because a couple things. Like, one, I don't want to see this movie remade. Number two, you texted me about the Wicked movie casting.
Oh, we can talk about that.
And so it's going to be Cynthia Erivo. And Ariana Grande.
Yes.
I have not seen Wicked, but I understand it is related to... I mean, it's about the witch's perspective, right?
Right. It is an unauthorized, what do they call it?
Sure.
An unauthorized prequel to, it's the backstory for the both of these witches.
Yeah, it's just written from the villain's
Right.
perspective. It's one of those.
And I did see Wicked once when it came through Nashville.
I've never seen it.
It's fine. It's not my favorite thing. I feel like a lot of the singing is just so high and so loud and shrill. I mean, I might get hate for this, but like, I'm just not a big Wicked fan. But
so this opened with, it was Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel.
Yes.
Adele Dazeem. Yeah.
And this was her first big role after Rent.
Oh, okay.
Because she was Maureen.
Yes.
She originated Maureen.
Yes.
And this was like her, star-making role after her breakout performance in Rent.
Right. Okay.
But I am very excited. I think that, like, if anyone can make those songs sound, like, less annoying, it's Cynthia Erivo. I think that that'll be great.
Oh, my goodness. Again, I haven't seen any of it, so I don't know.
A lot of people are, like, annoyed with Ariana's casting. I don't see a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it. Ariana was the first person, and I think because I knew that she had just been cast in Wicked, that just got the idea of Ariana into my mind, and I couldn't
shake it.
I couldn't shake it.
It was, and it was hard for me to, same kind of thing.
She is an actress.
Yeah. Yeah, she is.
I mean, she grew up doing the Disney Nickelodeon thing.
She was on 2 Nickelodeon shows. She was on Victorious, and then she had her own spin-off from that show.
That's how they all do it.
But I had a similar issue. I mean, not just with Ariana and Cynthia Erivo, but I kept thinking about that movie that they made like 10 years ago with James Franco and
oh my god, it was it's what they call a spiritual prequel. Where it deals with the same world and it is inspired by the same material, but it's not meant to be continuous.
It's not meant to be canon. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was called The Great and Powerful Oz.
Right.
And I think James Franco was the Great Oz. And Powerful Oz.
Michelle Williams was Glinda. And same thing happened to me when I was trying to do...
Mila Kunis.
Right. Yes. Mila Kunis was...
there were a lot of people in it. Like, a lot of big names in it. Yeah. A lot.
I mean, it was a big, huge budget movie.
Yeah.
But I had a similar issue when I kept thinking of, like, who could be Glinda? And I kept thinking, oh, you know what? What about Michelle Williams? It's
right.
Like, it's because I had already thought of her as...
Exactly. What about Cate Blanchett?
As Glinda?
Yeah.
So I think
can she sing?
She's a little... I don't know if she can sing, but she's a little stoic for me for that role. But,
no, I see it. I see that.
I had Jane Krakowski.
Always.
I said, obviously, I don't think this would happen, but like Beyonce has a very beautiful, peaceful presence, you know?
She would be a great Glinda.
Yeah.
Glinda.
In Wicked, her name starts out as Galinda, and then she changes it to Glinda.
Okay. I like that they at least acknowledge how strange it is. What about... Okay, for Wicked Witch of the West, who do you have?
I had a couple of ideas. I said Maya Rudolph.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love Maya Rudolph. She's so good at... honestly, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, she can do a straight role. She can do a comedic, villainous role.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything that Maya Rudolph can't do.
I think the thing about this role is that it has to be someone that will, like, dive in completely.
Really own it.
Has to have a lot of commitment, which is why I said Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig.
Sure. What about Christine Baranski?
Ooh. I love Christine Baranski.
And also, okay, so this is a Marvel thing, and I know you watched a little bit of WandaVision.
Yeah.
And you're probably aware that Catherine Hahn was kind of the scene stealer.
Yeah,
for that
she
whole
could be
show,
Wicked Witch.
right? Maybe that's too on the nose now that she's been Agatha.
I mean, I think we don't have to worry about that in our fictional world.
Exactly.
We
know she can do it.
I think she would be great.
Catherine Hahn
And it doesn't
as
matter.
the Wicked
I don't
Witch
know
of
if
the
she can
West.
sing, but it doesn't matter because she doesn't
she
sing.
can. She sings on WandaVision.
No, but I'm saying that the character doesn't sing.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
So she
no,
doesn't
that's
have to.
correct.
Yeah.
That is true, but we should give her a song.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Catherine Hahn singing Wicked Witch.
And then
Done.
I had an idea for an actress that could do both. I mean, obviously, yeah, who could do either.
Okay.
Which was Keke Palmer.
I was thinking of Keke Palmer
Really?
for Dorothy.
Oh, she's like 28 though.
But she looks very young.
She does look very young.
She looks very young.
But I think, she's so beautiful. She could do Glinda, but she has like enough like growl and
Oh my God,
commitment to do Wicked Witch.
She's way too young to be either of the witches, I think.
Okay.
I think. Also, I think that we want. No, I get what I get what you're saying, because Dorothy is a young character, but also her male counterparts are too old
Yeah.
for a 16-year-old.
Well, they're not supposed to be.
And she's actually supposed to be. She's supposed to be like 12.
Yeah.
So it's too.
It's hard. It was hard to
No.
cast because, like, who knows any 12-year-old actors.
No, there was supposed to be a romantic element
What?
in the script between. It was supposed to be really really subtle, but it was supposed to be Dorothy and Scarecrow.
Ew.
Like at the end of the movie, it was going to end with him going off to agricultural college or something to like learn more about farming, and there was an implied exchange between her and him where she was going to say something along the lines of like, be sure to write me, I'll wait for you, something like that.
Hopefully that was before it was. If that was in the script before it was cast.
Yeah, no, I think it was. I think it was the last draft that got refinished right before they finalized.
Okay. Well, that's horrible.
No, that's true. No, it is. It's very horrible. That's all there's really to say about it, I guess.
I did have a couple of ideas for Dorothy, and one of them, when I feel like this is going to keep coming up, it wasn't Zendaya.
But Zendaya.
But she could. There were some people that I intentionally left off of here because we always, but I did say Olivia Rodrigo.
Thumbs down.
And then my other idea was Ava Noblezada. She is the girl. She's the lead in Hades Town.
Okay.
I think I sent you the clip of her.
I didn't watch it.
Kelsey.
Sorry.
But she is incredible, and she's 25, but she's very young looking. She's got an incredible voice.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Okay, it works.
But yeah, I think on Olivia Rodrigo, I love her, but just, no, not experienced enough.
I mean, how much experience are you going to have at that age?
Sure. Yeah, I guess it's a matter of, do we want to cast Dorothy as a 16-year-old or as an obvious adult?
Or an obvious child.
But yeah, she was 16. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wouldn't make her being an adult wouldn't make any sense with like running away from home. I don't know. It's tough. But I did have some ideas for, and these are kind of interchangeable, like we do with these, and they include a lot of familiar names, but for Scarecrow, I said Harry Styles.
Okay.
And James Marsden.
I love him. Harry Styles is like too pretty for all that makeup.
But I feel like he's got he's got a lanky, like, silly thing
By
about
the
him.
way, the guy that wound up playing the Scarecrow, and he fell for that role.
Yeah.
He was left with permanent scarring from the mask.
Really?
Yeah, the mask wasn't porous at all.
Yeah.
So it was like this like rubber, like plastic prosthetic, like full face prosthetic that he had to put on.
Was it like glued on with like...
Yeah, and more or less he wound up getting like indentations like in the shape of burlap.
Oh.
Around his mouth and his cheeks, like the more sensitive parts
Yeah.
of his face. Yeah.
More lifelong injuries.
No, seriously, like all of them had serious lifelong injuries because of this movie.
Jesus. Anyway.
I'm not doing that to Harry Styles.
For Tin Man, I had a couple of ideas. I thought Donald Glover might be like an inspired choice.
No, I'm pass.
Okay.
I love Donald Glover too much for that.
Okay, I'm not trying to poison any of them. We're not using the face prosthetics and aluminum paint from the
I
original
look
movie.
at him as more of a starring actor.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't choose any, like, well, here, okay. I also said that the lion could be Jack Black. I also said that...
Will Ferrell
Yeah.
came to my mind.
I also said that Jack Black could be the wizard. Or
Sure,
the
yeah.
wizard could be Jim Broadbent.
Oh,
Ziedler.
right. Yes, Jim Broadbent. Ziedler from Moulin Rouge. And what else has he done? He's done so many things.
What was the one that we talked about this? That he was like nominated for an Oscar the same year as Moulin Rouge for that movie.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. That was so long ago.
I know.
Sacha
Sacha Baron Cohen could do any of these. He could do...
I think all of these actors are too big for it, though. You know what I mean?
I mean, okay. I wasn't, like, going for...
I'm not trying to fight with you.
Okay.
I'm just sharing my opinion.
Sure. But I wasn't, like, trying to choose, like, B-listers. It's a fantasy. It's not...
No, we can only afford B actors for this project.
Do you have anything else to add, Kelsey?
To this? No, I want to give the film an overall score.
Ooh, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard.
This is tough.
I'm going to say 5 wizards.
Out of...
Whatever you want it to be.
This one is tough because it's hard to rate in this way because
It's its own thing.
Yeah, and honestly, I really hadn't seen it since I don't even know how long it's been, like since I was a kid.
Me neither.
And so like coming back to it, it's like really didn't like hit me like emotionally at all in any sort of way. I'm gonna give it let's see, I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 asbestos snowflakes.
I'm gonna take it to mean you don't hate it, but you don't love it.
I was surprised with my takeaway from it.
Yeah.
Watching it. It's not. I mean, obviously, it's a classic. You without this, you wouldn't have Over the Rainbow. You know. And I understand why it's a classic.
It kind of sounds like you're saying it's a classic because I have to acknowledge it's a classic.
I mean, your answer was very non-committal.
Well, you're right. I was hoping you wouldn't call me out on it.
So I mean that's how I feel.
Look, will I watch it again? No. I won't. I won't watch it again. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Do I want to know more about it? I don't.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done with The Wizard of Oz.
It was a pretty, considering the subject matter, a very heavy thing to research.
Yeah, I'm just real bummed out. I'm real bummed out about Judy Garland.
Oh, God. What a fucking sad story.
So
good
next news
month,
is we're going to do another Judy Garland.
We've only touched on her life up to 16. Now we can go even further.
We can deep dive into the end years. For Christmas.
Actually, you know what? And this is just a little preview for next time we're doing Meet Me in St. Louis. But this historians and even she acknowledged that the period of time during Meet Me in St. Louis was one of the happiest of her life. So we have that to look forward to. So
clang, clang, clang with the trolley.
Ring, ring, ring. All right, we'll get there next time. So thank you for joining us. Welcome back to The Hills Are Alive, and we'll see you next time.
And in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram.
Yes.
At The Hills Are Alive Pod.
And thanks once again to We Own This Town for having us, as always.
Yep.
Bye-bye. And then they all died.